Well, budget support remains a preferred modality, we call it. I think in the aggregate it's probably about 30% of aggregate spending is done through budget support. For some country programs it runs up to 50%. So it's really a big chunk. I'm also actually quite proud to say that we are still leading this modality. So that and that's also why it's so important that we know how we measure it, how do we report on it, and how do we evaluate it and share that with the broader audience, which is looking at us, some of them with intrigued admiration and some of them with suspicion. So that's also where we have to make sure that we get the story right. Well, the interesting part, notably here on the South Africa evaluation, which we're looking at, I mean, this is a strategic evaluation. So we're not looking at one single operation, but the beauty about this exercise here is that it manages that we look back a decade, in fact 11 years, a decade back, in which we have spent a staggering billion euros through budget support, so no small fiat, all across 16 type programs. And what the strategic evaluation methodology allows us is to trace to what extent, both directly and indirectly, we have managed to influence some of the policy decision making, the policy decision shaping in the country. The lessons we can draw from that are quite interesting and reassuring, I must say, in the sense that we seem to have credible proof of traction. We have managed to get the South Africans to experiment using a bit the fiscal space they got through the budget support operations with innovative social policies, economic policies, employment policies. And then also what I like about the South African experience is that we can see that this has been very usefully reinforced by the fact that we have actually also come in with a strategic partnership, a strategic dialogue, which is also very usefully underpinned by a lot of this laboratory exercise going on. I mean, I must say that I'm impressed. I'm also reassured, but it's something where we need to get the message out. Because very often still the skeptic of budget support think this is all just, unaccountable money, difficult to trace, not entirely sure what this really leads to. Now in South Africa, this is even added by the suspicion that why on earth would we have European Union taxpayers' money go to a middle-income country? And there again, we were able to show that even though this is only collectively 1% of the total budget, so rather small amount of leverage in financial terms, that the actual leverage in transformative power of the whole exercise has been not only impressive, but has also been measurable. And I would hope very much also maybe through capacity for development and other means that we sort of spread this message across. I think this is a very good moment of being reassured that if properly done, but also properly monitored, that was come in. And the last point maybe just on South Africa, where I'm so happy that we have this here today. This just comes after a few days of deciding on the next multi-financial framework. And one of the contentious issues was indeed whether or not South Africa would still deserve being a bilateral aid recipient. The South Africans were very much demandeur, but of course South Africa being rated a BRICS country, being G20, being middle income, also many thought this was the time to turn the page and graduate them entirely from our development program. Now the decision was that we could continue with an allocation for South Africa, and this is also why I'm quite happy that this evaluation is not only ex post of what we've been doing over the last decade, but in fact we can for once also use this ex ante and inject that into our new programming for the next period.